coming to you once again from the world famous Parkway Diner in Stamford, Connecticut on this Monday, the March 9th, the year of our Lord 2026. Now, unfortunately, I'm going to need to spend a fair bit of time on Iran because things are developing, and I just want to share my perspective. And by the way, nobody else has mentioned what I'm about to talk about on what's going on and what we can expect over the next several weeks. Okay, so just starting with my op-ed, the title is Iran is becoming a, quote, spook war. So what do I mean by a spook war? It is a war that will be controlled more by intelligence and surveillance than soldiers and air supremacy, all right? Yes, all these things have a role. And by all means, I do not wish to downplay everything that the American military has accomplished, as well as the Israelis, although, as I will explain, the Israelis may have stepped over a certain bound. Yes, all of that is true, but I have to ask you a very simple question. Has Iran surrendered? Is there an indication they're going to surrender? And the answer is no. Do we have any reasonable expectation they might surrender soon? I mean, come on. We sank, what was it, 30 some of their ships. We've destroyed hundreds of their launchers, supposedly. You had the story about the 2 ships that survived that went to port in India and Sri Lanka. All these, dramatic announcements, and then, of course, the pushback with the missiles and drones that the Iranian government launched. Okay, so you got all that going on, quote, in the foreground. What could be going on in the background? What's happening in the shadows? We have talk of the Iraqi Kurds as well as the Iranian Kurds getting involved, maybe. Okay, they probably will. But then you get goofy takes on this, such as the suggestion that the Kurds are going to arm other Iranians. What? Are you sure about that? Okay, so let me just back it up a little bit. We're going to find ourselves at a point where we've pretty much bombed and destroyed about as much as we expect to. Okay, and by the way, there will be U.S. troops on the ground, and my prediction is well within the next 2 weeks, U.S. troops will be in Iran. The hot issue here is what constitutes sufficiency? When would Iran be sufficiently degraded that they have to say, we can't fight anymore? Well, that ain't happening. So let me offer this to you, dear audience. A couple of people have suggested it. I'm going to say it loudly. Since June of last year, you can be damn sure that the Iranian government has been very careful about planning when the Americans were actually going to invade. They were able to put 2 and 2 together, despite all the loud claims of success with the bombing. They had decided the Americans will be coming back again. And look at that. What happened? Yep, we're back. All right, so all of this said, let me just, by the way, I want to get this off my chest. So there was all this talk about how Saturday night America was going to launch the biggest attack yet on Iran. Fine. Well, that was America. They forgot to mention Israel. So what did Israel do? Israel destroyed 30 oil depots, I believe. Did you hear something like that, Eric? Yeah. Yeah, 30 oil depots and maybe some refinery capacity, as they put it, in Iran. All right, well, Donald Trump got a little upset. Pete Hegseth got even more upset because it's called, guys, you're getting ahead. Our vice president of conspiracy theories is reporting in for this evening. I'm sure we can accommodate some good ones for you here. We've got to test your knowledge, make sure you're keeping up.
Don't forget terrorist incels immune to booty.
Oh, they are immune to booty? Well, there might be a couple. There might be a couple, but I think the resistance level is not that high. Okay, I'm telling you. Yeah, for those who missed it, I might have to reiterate that, but we'll get to that part. Okay, so the hot issue here is that the people who constitute the core of the Iranian regime have no plans to surrender. None. Okay? The Americans with the special forces, if it's true that they have enough refined uranium to make 11 bonds, and the U.S. Special Forces get in there and get all of that material out, they're still not going to quit. Okay? So here's the image, ladies and gentlemen. The Americans come in, now we control the radio station, the TV station, all the system, the telephone system, all the means of communication in Iran, okay? We control the food supply. We're now helping to prop up the economy, etc. And the mullahs will still have not surrendered. They will have still not surrendered. So what are you supposed to do? Because now, what are we looking at? We are looking at what would typically be called an, wait for it, insurgency. Well, gee, where have we heard that word before, Eric? I believe it was Iraq. Yes, so we had to develop a counterinsurgency. And how did that work out? Not so good. All right, so this has the look and feel of a situation that is, quote, not good. The only other rejoinder I might add is that the ethnic makeup of Iran is a lot more diverse and complex. There are a lot more kinds of tensions between different groups. I mean, I totally forgot about the Azeris. So the Azeris make up, what, 10, 15% of the population. The Kurds, a similar amount. Persians, around 50%. And then you got these other ethnic groups. You know, a land that is rich in history, rich in culture, is going to be rich in conflict as well. A lot of long unresolved issues, just saying. All right, so where does this all put us here? Also, another point I want to make is that some people are, they want to blame Donald Trump. On 3 levels, I wish to submit to you that this is not Donald Trump's war. 1, it's not a personal vendetta. 2, it is not going to turn out the way that's expected. And it's most likely going to turn out to be the type of situation that is the bottom of the Pentagon's wish list, as I've just described. So let me point out a few more things here to think about, and then I got to move on. First of all, I'll just mention this. The United States, we have an expat population in Los Angeles alone of 500,000 Iranians. That's a lot of Iranians in America. That's right. And they're just in Los Angeles. How about the other cities? And so we've seen the demonstrations. They're glad, pro and con, but most pro. And a lot of them are presumably ready to go home. There was this fascinating interview with this one gentleman who was an Iranian doctor in Los Angeles who, his father used to be a bureaucrat who managed the healthcare system in Iran. He's already being asked if he's willing to come back if the opportunity presents itself, that he would do what his father used to do. He's all for it. So this becomes an interesting thing, that we have Iranians in America, pro-American, willing to go back to Iran to help set up a government. So that could solve half of our problem, all right? The other half is, what is the leadership going to look like? We know that President Trump has said he's willing to consider should we say, a gentler, kinder, ironic Islam despot. That's not a good idea, but he's just trying to keep the doors open, understanding how difficult regime change really is. Okay, so all of this said, the standing army in Iran is 600,000 people. They have 300,000 reservists, and they have approximately 250,000 law enforcement people in a nation of 90 million people. All right. So how is this going to shake out? Well, let me just add, going back to the fact that the mullahs have been planning for this, is that I'm going to say that the vast majority of their military resources are still intact. That's my first argument. And not only are they intact, but they are well distributed throughout the country. And we're going to have a hell of a time finding them. So this is why I'm suggesting that while we're all oohing and eyeing over these great military strikes, the real battle, the one in the background, the one in the shadows, the illusions, the deceits, that will become the battle that comes into the foreground in a matter of weeks, all right? At which point, I think my argument that we're in a spook war will begin to make a lot more sense. Right now, we're wild with the other stuff. I think it's going to become a spook war. So having said that, let me quickly now move on to the good stuff. Okay, this really got me. I just need to bring it up. BBC announced this piece about how apparently Somalians in Somalia destroyed a warehouse in which there were 76 tons of American food. To which I say, how's that for gratitude? How's that for gratitude? Okay? Your people are starving, you need our help, we send you the food and you destroy it. All right, so they're going to deny it. I think they've already made a denial. Oh, it was a mistake. We were switching warehouses, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, all right, we'll wait to find out what the rest of the story is. Okay, so I just want to add with respect to a couple of the points about Iran is that I put up the link, so you got to go to yankeet.news, look for the links, and there's one here about a guy who calls himself Data Republican. He has a Substack, and he did this huge analysis on the state of Iran. Now, I don't agree with all his points. I'm not going to get into details. I'm just saying I don't think anybody else has put together anything quite as comprehensive as he has, so it definitely needs to be checked out. Meantime, can I just state the obvious, ladies and gentlemen? What in God's good name is wrong with the Democrats in this country? All they do is complain about what we're doing in the Mideast because, well, they're Democrats and they don't like Republicans and they like to pick on Donald Trump most of all.
So does Nick Fuentes.
And Nick, yeah, anyway, we won't go into here. Let's schedule Nick for another time. I think we need our Fuentes update at some point. Yeah. So there are anyway, don't want to go there. The Democrats are the best Iranian lobby in Congress. Nobody's doing a better job of speaking up for the Iranians, for the mullahs, for the Death to America crowd than the Democrats in Congress. That's all I need to say. Meantime, I just want to, all right, I have to mention Ukraine. Ukraine has not been getting proper attention. Again, I'm very sensitive to the fact that I'm looking at certain sources and I'm struggling to find the other sources. Here's the thing. I'm finding it very easy to find sources that show how Ukraine is making progress. I'm finding it hard to find sources that suggest Russia is making progress. Now, if somebody wishes to disabuse me of this, I'm right here, bring it, all right? So all of that said, there I put up a link that does a review of Ukraine's evolving military capabilities. If there's one argument I would make, it is that the rate at which the Ukrainians are evolving their technology is faster than the Russians. The Russians are making changes. They're coming up with better drones and such, but they just don't have the same pace behind it. So that's all there is on that. Meantime, another little point about Iran I need to make is there's a place called Karg Island. I wish I could put up a map, but let's say this is Iran here like this. You've got, what is that? The Persian Gulf right in there. You got the Straits of Hormuz down here like this. But down here along the coast is a place called Karg Island, which they have a lot of refineries, terminals, things like that. And if we took over Karg Island, that would really hurt Iran. We haven't done it yet. I don't know why. I'm led to believe that Trump and Hegseth have a very methodical plan. It's just I don't think they understand Iran's methodical counter plan. Moving on. Okay. So, if you haven't heard about it, what's that? Am I okay? Okay. All right. So, secret raid by the FBI in Maricopa County. So, okay, great. We got the records from Fulton County Election Board. Now we've got the records from the election board in Maricopa County. That may turn out to be even a bigger mess than Georgia. And there may be some others coming as well. So just there's a link, you want to check that out. Then a couple reasons why immigrants must really go now. Okay, thank God these rank amateur nut jobs who had been radicalized by people from Turkey online had made these IEDs that didn't work. Thank God for that, right? Okay. Well, there has to, I mean, how many times have we heard this? How many times? Okay. Oh, the FBI goes, oh, yeah, we knew about those guys all along. Yeah, we've been tracking them. And you didn't arrest them. Why? No, they didn't do anything wrong, but they had violence on their hearts. You can certainly say that. And the other reason immigrants need to go now was this clip I saw, this young woman, thank God for her, I think it was in Texas, so let's not be surprised. Some Egyptian guy was stalking her, okay? It shows two cameras. It shows her walking across the street, him following her, and then the second camera shows her coming into the hallway in the building, going up the stairs with this guy right behind her. And then as she goes up the stairs, she sees the guy turn around and run out because she pulled out her gun. Pulled out her gun. Good girl. Smart.
More people should.
Okay. All right. So meantime, what happens? So all he does is he goes looks for someone else as a victim. This guy's got to go. Get him out of the country and everyone like him. You know, and just the Democrats defend this? Wow. Wow. Okay, moving on. The Havana Syndrome. Have you been following the Havana Syndrome? Yeah, we have little things. This is the 60 Minutes thing. Oh, yeah, CIA, cover up, blah, blah, blah. Well, this whole technology has been around for a long time, as our vice president of conspiracy theories can attest. And yeah, so anyway, I just put up the link just so you can check it out. You know, there's a side conversation about directed energy weapons, of which I guess these would be considered a type, right? They're more a microwave rather than laser or acoustic. What is going to become of this? I mean, if this becomes revealed, I mean, what's going to happen? Is Congress going to try and regulate it? I don't know. Anyway, I had to put up for you, there's another concern here, ladies and gentlemen. Moving on to the next thing, and that is AI once again. Here we go. Eric and I have been having a lot of discussions about AI. Now, Eric is a little bit more optimistic about AI than I am, and that's fine. I can see why he says that. But here's the thing, Eric. When you have an AI program that can compile comments from anonymous posts and then use that information to determine who the anonymous poster is that a good use for AI?
A tool is only as good as the person wielding it.
Well, I think in this case, the word would be bad. Okay, so remember, the most effective form of censorship is self-censorship, crossed out. Anyway, the link is there. Go check it out. Meantime, Tina Peters, we have not forgotten about Tina Peters. You know, there's been this talk, right? Now you've heard Governor Polis making these excuses about, oh yeah, there was this Democrat woman, she got probation and the charges were equivalent. Well, they weren't equivalent. This whole thing, what a crock. Anyway, so I'm just going to make this statement for you, Governor Polis. The longer you wait, the worse it's going to be. Okay? So let me give you a hint. Let me give you a hint. Georgia, Arizona, what do you think? Will number 3 be Colorado? How could that even be possible? Well, maybe we should ask Tina, but she's in prison. Ay, ay, ay. Okay, moving on. Sorry about that. All right. Now, this is a surprise. You know, I like to do food additives of the week, and this one is called EGCG. It's an extract from green tea. And I think people are starting to suggest that this green tea extract could be carcinogenic. And I am gobsmacked about that because there's all these other claims of health benefits. So we're left with something very strange, ladies and gentlemen. Could you have a food source that is both healthful and provides all kinds of benefits and be carcinogenic? Could both be true? I don't have the answer. I'm just laying it out there, okay? Now, I put up a link here. There was a famous philosopher named Karl Popper who I would say was the king of paradox. That might be a way to describe him. He has put forth the argument that if you have too much tolerance, then that will cause intolerance to arise. And the type of intolerance that would be caused by too much tolerance could be very destructive. That's the essence of his argument. And so the link is up there for you to look at that. And, you know, because what we have right now, if you're looking at DEI, and if you're looking at Ibram Kendi and his, I'm trying to remember the title of his book, about being what you call a racialist. So his argument was that we have to be intolerant of all racism, okay? Okay, so, but we're going to be tolerating your intolerance. I don't think so. So that's another one there. All right, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to remind you, we agree, death to the central banks? Death to the central banks, yes, it's good. Anybody else want to chime in on death to the central banks? All right, so this is a show. Catherine Austin Fitz is our leading light on this issue, and this link is a talk that she gave recently at Hillsdale College about how programmable digital currency is the key for control of every individual on the planet. So I just want to add that.
She was talking about this like 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Right, yeah, no, it's.
She's on Tucker Carlson.
Sure. So there's this ebb and flow, you know, that gets popular, it's in the news, then it goes away, then it comes back again, then it goes away, then it comes back again. All right, the one I want to point out, for what it's worth, was that in England, they attempted to force digital currency in the population, and there was so much pushback that the people said, we're not having anything of it, and the government had to pull it back. Good. Now, this is of concern. The number keeps going up. The number keeps going up. That would be in Canada. That would be the number of people who have been euthanized. We're approaching the 100,000 mark, the number of people who've been euthanized in Canada. And by the way, in Connecticut, our beloved state of Connecticut, every session, the Democrats try to roll out yet another euthanasia bill. They've come closer this time than before because New York State finally gave in. But we cannot have that. We cannot have that, all right? And then wasteful government. Pinheads drag down the economy. So there's a link there that quantifies the degree to which bureaucracy impairs an economy. There's a study that claims for every bureaucrat, you lose 168 jobs because all the crazy overregulation that they do. All right, so my send-off here, ladies and gentlemen, is what's been happening in Connecticut recently. This is the power of the people against a demented legislature that we have in Hartford. Okay, so they have been trying to pass a bill that would basically have parents reported to the DCF if they decide to homeschool their children. So this is part of a process of, quote, reporting to the state. Oh, yeah. Okay, so there was a hearing, all right, and there was testimony. Just so we're clear, this is my rant tonight. I'm going to get my rant off my chest. How much time have we got for my rant? Am I over for my rant?
We're over already.
All right, I'll make it, okay, it'll be a short rant then. A pico rant, a nano rant. All right, the testimony involved approximately 300 people who submitted written testimony, okay? And of those 300, every last single one of them opposed the bill. Every last one, over 300 people, okay? They don't get many bills with a lot of people testifying. That's one of them. Now, here's my rant. to you, the nut jobs who are in our legislature, you've tried this twice now. You tried it back in May, you tried it in September, you got the same results. You got it now for a third time. When are you going to figure it out? You leave the homeschooling community alone. Leave them alone. They're fine. They do not need you, bureaucrats, gumming everything up. So on that happy note, I'll see you next week.